Hey everyone, welcome back to Yusuf Reacts, where we dive deep into your favorite movies. Today, we're going back to the 80s with one of the most iconic sci-fi films of all time, Terminator 1984. Directed by James Cameron and starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, The Terminator is a perfect mix of action, sci-fi, and horror. It was a game changer for not only Schwarzenegger's career but also for the entire genre. Alright, let's break down the plot. The year is 1984, but the story really starts in the future. In the year 2029, the world is in ruins after a nuclear apocalypse caused by an AI called Skynet. Skynet is now waging a war against the last humans, led by John Connor. Skynet sends a cybernetic assassin, the Terminator, back in time to 1984 to kill John Connor's mother, Sarah Connor, before he's even born. But don't worry, the humans send one of their own, Kyle Reese, to protect her. Right away, we see how relentless the Terminator is. It's a killing machine disguised as a human, played brilliantly by Arnold Schwarzenegger. His first words, "Give me your clothes." Yeah, you know he means business. Schwarzenegger's portrayal made the Terminator one of the most terrifying villains in cinema history. Fun fact, Arnold originally had only 18 lines in the entire movie. But it's that cold, machine-like performance that makes him unforgettable. Now, let's talk about Sarah Connor, played by Linda Hamilton. She starts as an ordinary waitress, but throughout the movie, she transforms into a strong, resilient fighter. At first, she has no idea what's happening, just a regular day in law. Until she finds out she's being hunted by a relentless killer from the future. But she's not alone. Enter Kyle Reese, sent to save her and ensure the survival of the future human resistance. The action scenes in this movie are pure adrenaline. From car chases to shootouts, the Terminator is constantly one step behind Sarah and Reese. The tension never lets up. And can we talk about the special effects? For 1984, the practical effects, like the stop-motion Terminator skeleton in the final act, were groundbreaking. These effects helped the Terminator become a sci-fi classic that still holds up today. Without giving too much away for those who haven't seen it yet, spoiler alert. The final battle between Sarah and the Terminator is one of the most intense climaxes in action movie history. It's where we see Sarah's full transformation. She goes from being a target to a warrior, which sets up the incredible arc for the sequel, Terminator 2, Judgment Day. A cyborg assassin from the future attempts to find and kill a young woman who is destined to give birth to a warrior who will lead a resistance to save humankind from extinction. Sent back from a dystopian 2029 where the cold machines have conquered the entire world, to 1984 Los Angeles, the indestructible cyborg assassin known as the Terminator commences his deadly mission to kill humankind's most important woman, the unsuspecting Sarah Connor. However, from the same war-torn post-apocalyptic future comes a battle-scarred defender, Kyle Reese, a brave soldier of the human resistance army bent on stopping the cybernetic killer from eliminating the world's last hope. But the Terminator has no feelings, he doesn't sleep, and above all, he won't stop until he carries out his grim task. Does our future lie in our past? Over an apocalyptic battlefield dominated by robotic war machines, in the future, humans will wage a long war against an enemy known as the machines. The final battle, however, will not be fought in this future world, but in the past, specifically our present. The year switches to 1984. An object is transported through a high-intensity energy field. The object is a man, Arnold Schwarzenegger. The man swats two punks aside, the third stabs him, but the giant tears open the punk's body and kills him, taking his clothes. In a downtown alley, a scarred, naked man, muscular but much smaller in size than the other man who arrived in a similar fashion, is forced through the portal and lands in the alley, in obvious pain. A police car pulls up and two cops yell at him to freeze. The man is able to hide and attacks one of the cops, taking his pistol. The cop becomes puzzled by the man's question of the date and year. Finding a phone book nearby, he looks up the name Sarah Connor. Elsewhere, a young woman, Sarah Connor Linda Hamilton, lives the life of a lonely waitress. Sharing an apartment with her friend Ginger Bess Mata, Sarah is living out a boring life that seems to go nowhere. The Terminator steals a car and goes to a local sporting goods store and instills a gun. The Terminator finds a phone book and looks for the name Sarah Connor, finding 3 listings in the Los Angeles area. He goes to the address of the first listing. As he walks to the front door, a small dog barks at him. When Sarah Connor opens the door, the Terminator forces its way inside and brutally murders her with the pistol it acquired. Not long after, Sarah's co-worker drags her to the television, where Sarah sees that a woman sharing her name has been murdered by an unidentified assailant. Sarah and her roommate, Ginger, prepare for separate dates. Ginger's boyfriend, Matt Rick Rossovich, will be coming over to spend the night. Sarah decides to go out for pizza and sees a news report where the police announce the death of another woman sharing her name. Sarah becomes worried. She tries to call Ginger. However, Ginger and Matt do not hear the phone while having sex. Matt and Ginger are both attacked by the Terminator, who shoots both of them dead, before hearing Sarah's voice on a message machine saying where she is. Sarah then phones the police department and is connected to ELT. Traxler Paul Winfield, the detective investigating the Sarah Connor killings. He tells Sarah to stay put until he can get a squad car to her. The Terminator arrives at the club, dispatches a bouncer, and works his way inside. In the meantime, the second man who arrived via the electrical storm, Kyle Reese Michael Bean, a soldier from the future sent back in time to intercept the Terminator before it can kill Sarah. Sarah is spotted in the club by the Terminator. Reese fires on the Terminator, hitting it with several blasts and knocking it to the floor. Reese and Sarah escape through the back door of the club, with the Terminator chasing them. Reese speeds off while the Terminator subdues a cop and takes his car. During the chase, Kyle explains that Sarah is destined to give birth to the humans' future leader John Connor. Reese further explains that a nuclear war was initiated by a new, powerful computer system referred to as Skynet, that was tasked with controlling all defense systems. Reese was enslaved and marked with a barcode. The human race, he says, was on the verge of extinction when Sarah's son, John, was able to organize the remaining humans into an effective resistance movement that, by the time Reese was sent back to the present day by Connor himself, had defeated Skynet. In desperation, Skynet sent the Terminator to the present day to murder Sarah and eliminate John Connor's existence. The Terminator finds them there and the chase resumes. Reese has Sarah take over driving and is able to hit the Terminator with a few blasts from his shotgun. Sarah stops their car and the Terminator crashes into a wall. When she and Reese are arrested, she sees that the Terminator has escaped the scene. At Traxler's police precinct, Sarah is told that Ginger is dead and that Reese has been given to a psychiatrist, Peter Silberman Earl Bone. His story about the Terminator is treated as the babbling of a psychopath. During the interview, Silberman asks Reese why he didn't bring weaponry from the future with him, to which Reese replies that only living material will go through the time portal. The Terminator goes back to a shoddy hotel room where it is hiding out. It removes one of its eyes that had been damaged when it was shot by Reese. Under the eye is a sophisticated robotic eye that glows red. It dons a set of sunglasses and marches out to resume the hunt for Sarah, taking a SPAS shotgun and an AR-15 rifle. At the police precinct, the Terminator arrives in the foyer and asks to see Sarah. It marches through the precinct, ruthlessly slaughtering every officer it finds. In the battle, Traxler is killed and Reese escapes confinement. He finds Sarah and the two escape the precinct. Realizing Kyle's story is true, Sarah is told about the future, where humans barely survive amid the wreckage of cities and the dominance of the Terminator. Later, the two reach a roadside motel, where Kyle goes to purchase chemicals needed to make explosives. While he is shopping using borrowed money, Sarah showers and phones her mother, telling her the phone number where she is unaware that her mother is actually the Terminator recreating the voice of her real and now dead mother. The two make a stockpile of explosives and wait. When Sarah asks Kyle if he has ever had a lover, he replies he has not, a fact that touches Sarah. Kyle then mentions having a photo of Sarah and how he has fallen in love with her. Sarah has sex with Reese and it results in the conception of Sarah's and Kyle's son, John. The Terminator tracks them to the hotel and the two flee again in a stolen pickup truck. Reese makes a valiant effort to destroy the Terminator with the pipe bombs he and Sarah made, however, he is hit by gunfire and Sarah loses control of their truck, flipping it over. The Terminator recovers and is immediately struck by a semi-tanker truck. After the driver stops, the Terminator kills him and takes control of the truck, attempting to run down Sarah. Near a factory, Kyle uses his last pipe bomb to detonate the truck's tank trailer, which explodes. As Reese and Sarah embrace, the Terminator emerges from the wreckage, its flesh completely burned off. Reese and Sarah retreat into the factory, which is automated. Reese switches on as many of the machines as he can, making tracking more difficult for the Terminator. They are finally cornered, and Reese places his last bomb in the endoskeleton of the Terminator, which explodes, scattering pieces of the cyborg. Sarah, nursing a severely injured leg, finds Reese, but he's dead. She is suddenly attacked by the top half of the Terminator's skeleton. She desperately crawls away, finally luring the Terminator into a giant hydraulic press. She traps it there and, as it mindlessly tries to break her neck, pushes the button activating the press. The Terminator is crushed until its red glowing eye fades. Sarah is taken to an ambulance and sees the paramedics put Kyle's body into a body bag. Later, she is driving a Jeep in the desert, seemingly towards Mexico, stopping at a gas station. She has been recording using a cassette player. The tapes are for her son. One of the questions she poses is whether or not she should tell John about Reese being his father and if that will affect his decision to send the warrior back in time to meet and save Sarah. While the Jeep's tank is filled, a young boy takes her picture with a Polaroid camera. It is the same picture Reese admires in Sarah's dream of his future. She and the boy bargain over the price and she buys it. The boy says something Spanish, and the gas station owner tells her. He said, "A storm's coming." Sarah sees the storm approaching and says, "I know." She drives off into an unknown future.